Well, good morning, everyone. This is Felix, or good afternoon, wherever you are in the world, or good evening. I'm one of the co-chairs here at HAE SoCal, and today is really a special event. We are really excited to welcome Dr. Ali Binzair. And before that, though, I just want to kind of talk about events coming up here at SoCal. We're hosting our first HAE in partnership with HBS of SoCal pitch competition. So the deadline is going to be on June 30th. Again, that's June 30th. And there's details that have been emailed a few days ago. Is that correct, Zach? So we'll actually, you'll see more on that as well. And then we have other events lined up the next few months. So those are one of the big events coming up. So we'll give everyone a few minutes to trickle in. And before that, though, I just want to talk about Dr. Ali Binzair's background. So he's a happiness engineer, an author, a speaker, and behavioral change specialist. He's written 4 books, including the Tao of Dating, The Smart Woman's Guide to Being Absolutely Irresistible. And it's the #1 rated dating book on Amazon for the past 7 years. He received an AB from Harvard College, an MD from UC San Diego of School of Medicine, Master's of Philosophy from Cambridge University, and he's a former consultant at McKinsey. He coaches several speakers and has given 3 TEDx talks by invitation: Awaken Creative Genius, Love and the Empowered Women, and Happiness Engineering. So without much further ado, we'd like to welcome our guest, Dr. Binzair.
Hello, everybody. Can you hear me? Well, that's fantastic, but I cannot hear you. So this is going to be an interactive session. I'm used to being in rooms with people in front of me, whose faces I can see, whose reactions I can gauge. And this is not a lecture, this is a workshop. You'll be doing exercises with me, and it's important for me to be able to see what you're doing so I can give you feedback and correct you. So I invite every single one of you, if at all possible, to open your cameras so I can actually see and interact with you. It also helps that I know that there's other people here and I'm not just talking to a bunch of walls here. I mean, I guess I do have Zach and Felix to keep me company, but it'll also be good to see the faces of the students. And look, if you are having a bad hair day, I totally understand. But actually, no, I don't, because I'm having a no hair day. So you have no excuse. Please turn on your cameras and let's make this as interactive as possible. And I will also be asking some of you to participate as subjects. So I'm doing some live coaching at the end. And look, guys, I charge $300 an hour for this. So you're getting this for free today. So I encourage as many of you as possible to volunteer and be the first person who is going to be coached, because this stuff is transformative. In the next hour or so, I'll be teaching you a whole new way of being. This is not just about giving a pitch. This is not just about being a better presenter. This is about charisma. This is about your presence in the world. And if you use these principles all the time, everything changes. Because is there a bad time to be more charismatic? No, there is no bad time to be more charismatic. So let's get going here. So I think I've delayed enough to get everybody in the room here. And once again, as many of you as possible on camera, bad hair, no hair, I don't care. Just get in there. So I'd like to start with a story. I'm 13 years old. I am in the Mehrabad airport in Tehran, Iran, and I am about to leave my home country forever. Here's the situation. There's been this little revolution thing, and also Saddam Hussein has started dropping bombs on Tehran. This is rather inconvenient. Also, I am very close to being drafted to go to the front and become mine fodder. My mom thinks this is not such a great idea, and maybe it's time for us to bust a move and get the hell out of there. So we are there at the airport. We have what we need packed to make it look like we're going on a vacation, because really, we'll be right back. The regime is not too keen on letting people leave forever. But at the same time, we need to sustain ourselves over there. So we have brought with us money, which they don't want us to have on us. My mom's like, so where do we hide this? We have this stack of $50, $100 bills to restart our life in Los Angeles when we get there. And I'm 13, so I know everything. And I say, hey, Mom, why don't I hide it under the insole of my shoe? They will never look over there. And my mom's like, well, haven't heard any better ideas. Let's go with that. So we're at the airport. They've already checked our luggage. They didn't find anything, any valuables, diamonds, gold, the stuff that kind of people try to smuggle out. But there's one thing left between me and my flight, and that is the full body inspection. So I walk into this booth, and there's a young kid over there, probably like 25 or so, and he's in charge. And obviously I'm nervous, so I'm like, hey, how you doing? Make a lot of friends this week? And the kid's like, hi, I'd like to do the inspection. Is that okay? I'm like, yes, sure. And one of you has the, Alexa, you have your microphone on. Please turn off your microphone so we don't get feedback. Savannah, I see your microphone is also on, so please turn it down, turn your microphones. Thank you. And so I'm in the booth and I'm trying to make some small talk there before he starts. And he starts to do his inspection. And he checks everything, pockets, everything, there's nothing there. And at the end he says, oh, mind if I check your shoes? And I'm like, shoes? Are you kidding me? Shoes? And suddenly my entire future life flashes before me. On the one hand, he checks my shoes and I go to jail, or basically they don't let us leave the country, and I go and get recruited to the front, and maybe I die young or just have some ignominious fate of being stuck in the Islamic Republic. On the other hand, I get through there somehow. I get on a plane. I go to Madrid. From Madrid, I go to Los Angeles. From there, I go to University High School. From there, I go to Harvard College. From there, I go to UCSD Medical School. From there, I go to Cambridge, get a job at McKinsey, start my own business. And then I'm in front of you guys talking to you about how to be a charismatic speaker. At that moment, for whatever reason, I said, oh, didn't you already check my shoes? And the kid looks a little confused. He's like, wait, what? And in that moment, his boss says, Hassan, I need you, come here. He's like, 1 second, I'll be right back. As soon as he leaves the room, I reach down, I pull out the $50, $100 bills, I stick it in my pocket, put my shoes back on, and act like nothing has happened. Kid walks back in and he says, where were you? He's like, oh yeah, you were gonna check my shoes. Like, oh yes, the shoes. So I take my shoes off, he takes them, he completely disembowels them, because obviously that's what he does all day long, and then hands it back and says, okay, you're good to go. And here we are. It all worked out. So why am I telling you this story? There's two reasons. First of all, I want to impress upon you the idea of hinge moments. That moment when I was in that inspection booth was a hinge moment for me. If it swings this way, I go straight to hell, also known as, war, famine, death. If it goes this way, I get on a plane, I go to Harvard, and I'm here with you. I did something, I said something, and that made a difference. And there will be hinge moments in your life as well that will have a disproportionate impact on the rest of your life. As entrepreneurs, one hinge moment is when you're in front of a panel of potential investors and you're pitching your company. It's do or die. If you do well, then you get money, you get funded, your company thrives, your company goes to the next phase, and who knows, from there you can become Google, Netflix, something. All those guys, they had those hinge moments and it went right. If Google hadn't gotten that first $1 million, they would not be here today. So I'm here to make sure that you have all the tools at your disposal to get those hinge moments right. And there's other hinge moments too, when you ask somebody out for the first time, when you ask for somebody's hand in marriage, when you're presenting a case in front of a jury, when you are teaching a bunch of kids who could go on and become the future of the country. So Hinge Moments are happening not all the time, but when they happen, they're pretty darn important. And so the question is, do you know what to do? Do you know how to use your voice? Do you know how to use your body? Do you know how to use your words? And there's a second function to the story I just told you. I will be demonstrating everything that I'm teaching to you. And in the demonstration, that's how you're going to learn what's going on. The story actually is not entirely relevant to public speaking, you may have noticed, but it is a story, and it's a particular kind of story. So that is one of the 3 top-level bits of advice that I give to all my entrepreneur students. I train at 2 different incubators, one in San Francisco and one in Los Angeles. And what I always tell them, because it's the #1 mistake people make, is don't data dump. Tell stories. Always be storytelling, ABS. So here's the deal. I could have told you, hello, my name is Dr. Ali Binzair, and I went to Harvard and UCSD Medical School and Cambridge and McKinsey. And yeah, I'm pretty cool, so you should listen to me and stuff. Oh yeah, I also did a bunch of TED Talks. That's a data dump. There's nothing interesting in there. There's nothing for you to hold on to. And frankly, it's a little bit alienating. It also activates the entirely wrong part of your audience's brain. It activates the data crunching part of the brain. What you want to be doing is to activate the emotional part of your audience's brain. And I told you a story that was an underdog story. Here's a kid, and everybody's been a kid, and a kid's pretty much always an underdog. A kid in a position of real danger, right? And he triumphs over adversity and ends up doing reasonably well. And that is a good kind of story you want to be telling about your company, the underdog story, as opposed to the data dump. Everybody thinks, hey, I'm going to tell them about our month-on-month growth percentage. It's going to be great. Watch this little hockey stick graph. Whee! No, dump the graphs. In fact, today, as an example, again, I don't have any slides. There are no slides. There are never slides when I'm giving a talk. Now, you may have a couple of slides that are really important about, hey, year-on-year growth, we've been doing really well. Here are numbers for profit. Okay, fantastic. If you absolutely must have a slide or 2 with some numbers on it, put it in there. But what I want you to do is to be fully present and convey your personal charisma to your audience, because that's how people are convinced. There was a study done on pitching, and what the researchers found was that the prime determinant of a pitch's success was not its content at all. It was the energy and enthusiasm of the person presenting, because that's in the end what people are investing in. Can you do it? Your business plan is going to change. It's going to go through a million twists and turns. It'll be practically indistinguishable by the end from what you started out with. In fact, pivoting is what entrepreneurs do. So the content matters somewhat, but what really matters is you and who you're presenting to your audience. Do you guys get that? Always be storytelling. Yes? Let's do that together. Let's get your microphones on, and all of us together, we're gonna repeat. Don't data dump. Always be storytelling. Here we go.
Don't
Data dump.
Storytelling.
Fantastic. All right, good. You can turn your mics off again now. So yeah, what I'm teaching you today is this framework, which I call the Super Charisma Framework. And it has to do with 3 qualities and how you want to present them to the world. The 3 qualities are strength, warmth, and presence. Strength is your audience's perception of your competence. Can you get shit done? Are you a force of nature? Number 2, warmth. Are you personable? Are you relatable? Are you on my side? Are you friend or foe? And number 3 is presence. Are you there? Is what you're saying actually persuasive because it connects to something deep down inside of you, showing conviction? So Where does this all come from? Well, let's roll back to, I don't know, 200,000 years ago on the savannah, right? You're walking around and you see a stranger on the road to your village. Evolution has designed us for survival. So if that is true, then what's the first thing that comes to mind? You're like, oh, is this person going to hurt me, right? So that's the warmth bit, right? But even more important than that, can this person hurt me, right? If it's a 3 foot tall kid, you're not worried about whether this person's friend or foe because you can take him, I hope. But if it's like a 6'5" person with a giant stick, you're like, okay, this person has strength. Is this person warm? Is this person friend or foe, right? And that processing happens at an unconscious level on the order of milliseconds. So when you are in front of a bunch of people about to give a talk, that's what turns on in their brains. It's like, boom, is this person competent / strong? And is this person friend or foe? These two qualities make you credible or not so credible. And ideally, you want to have both of them. If you have a whole bunch of strength, but not a lot of warmth, then you come off as a bully. And that's not terribly persuasive. If you have a whole lot of warmth, but not a lot of strength, you come off as a nice, but kind of wussy person. And that's not terribly persuasive. If you are the VC sitting on that panel, trying to decide whether you're going to fund someone, do you want to fund a wuss? Do you want to fund a bully? Or do you want to fund someone whom you can admire because they have both warmth and strength? And then the presence too. And so today, I'm going to teach you how to convey warmth, strength, and presence through the 3 channels. So we have the 3 qualities, strength, warmth, and presence, and then the 3 channels. The 3 channels are the visual channel, this magnificence that you see before you. There is the vocal channel, this sonorous voice that you're hearing, which is also your sonorous voice. We'll work on that too. And finally, there is the verbal channel, the actual words I am saying to you that you will also be saying to your audience. And the tendency is for people to really emphasize the verbal channel. They go into the content, like, oh, let me make this perfect. Let me put as many words as possible on the slide. And I'm here to tell you that a majority of the information that we're conveying to our audience is via the vocal channel and the visual channel. If I were to say to you, yeah, right, that's 2 positives, and you know by the vocal encoding in my body language, I neither mean yeah nor right. That means hell no, right? And if I also say, oh, no, stop. That is also not no. That's not stop. You know through my visual and my vocal presentation that there's something else going on. So I want to emphasize the importance of those 2 channels, and we're going to do a bunch of exercises to make sure that you get those right. So you are conveying the message that you want your audience to receive. So before we go, I'm going to mention 10 seemingly random items which are going to become relevant towards the end of this talk. You need not make any effort to memorize these nor to write them down. I'm just going to say them because they're kind of fun to do. So here we go, 10 items. Let's see, there's a door over there. Wearing shoe. Let's see, there's a tree outside. Let's see, there's a gun story about a gun. And let's see, there's a beehive out in the distance. I see sticks on the ground, sticks. Let's see, I see the sky, heaven above. There's a crate, and wine. I'd like some wine after this maybe, and hen, just randomly throw a hen in there. All right, so 10 items. You can forget about it completely. It'll come up later on. In the meantime, are you ready to do some exercises to change your life, the way you present yourself to the world and maximize your charisma? Yes, you with me? All right, woohoo, fantastic. So we're going to be doing a lot of these standing up. So you will be standing up when you're presenting to your audience. So we want to make this as realistic as possible. If you can somehow arrange your camera such that they can see your torso, as much of you as possible, that'd be great. Disembodied torsos don't work as well. The head should be in there. And once again, as many of you as possible on camera. I have enough to make it feel vaguely normal to me, but the more of you there, the more it feels like a party. So let's go. All right. So you've probably heard about power poses before, and what I'm about to tell you is very similar to the whole idea of power poses, which is that the number one correlate of perceived strength in the visual channel is how much space you're taking up, okay? So let's do a little exercise here. Give yourself a rating of from 0 to 10 of how much power you're feeling right now. Give yourself a strength rating. So 0 to 10. As I'm standing right now, you know, I'm giving the talk, so I'm feeling pretty good. So, you know, maybe I'm an 8 or something, but you may have a different number. Whatever it is fine. Just note what that number is. Okay, so you got your number? Yes? Thumbs up if you got it. Your own rating? Great, fantastic. Now, what I want you to do is to scrunch yourself down into a little ball. So I'm about to disappear. Don't worry, I'm still here. I'm just going out of the camera, but scrunch yourself down into a little ball and hold your knees. I'm going to do that for about 5 to 10 seconds. Okay, so I am so small. I am tiny. I have disappeared. Okay, good. Scrunch yourself down, put your head down. And as you're there, give yourself that rating again. What is your current strength rating on a scale of 1 to 10? Okay? You got that? Stand up again. All right. Now what I want you to do is the starburst. Woohoo! I wish you all dry armpits right now. All right. So put your arms up, put your feet wide, hold it up, and look up to the sky and hold that for about 10 seconds. Woohoo! Maybe even say a little woohoo. Okay. And once again, give yourself a power rating, strength rating. What do you feel now on a scale of 0 to 10 on the strength scale? Okay, and bring that down. Whew. And notice the difference. And if you want to put in the chat the before and after. So scrunch down versus standing up, starburst. Okay? That, my friends, is what we call embodied cognition. Your body changes the way you feel. 2 to 8, amazing. Thank you, Savannah. This stuff makes a big difference, okay? So what we want you to do is to imagine you are a 400-pound gorilla and stand like that. Take up space. This is about feeling dominant. And when you're up on stage talking to people, you have two choices. One, you can feel like, oh no, I'm being scrutinized by 150 people. I'm going to shrink. I'm going to make myself as small a target as possible. I'm going to try to not screw up for the next hour or however long you're talking. Or you can say, I'm in front of these people. I am going to be talking this 60 minutes and they are going to be responding to what I say. I am the one regulating their physiology for the next 60 minutes because, my friends, that is the definition of dominance. Who gets to regulate the physiology of the other person? And when you're in front of people and you are the one talking, they are synchronizing their brainwaves to what you're saying. Guess what? You get to be the dominant person. So that's the choice. You can either be anxious and small, or you can realize, actually, you know what? I am the alpha person in this room, because that is exactly what is happening when you are giving a speech. So we want to make sure that you are perceived as such. So let's take a nice wide stance. So whatever stance you were, make it super wide, make it like super exaggerated. So you don't want to go too wide because then you diminish your height, and height is also a correlate of strength. So, but for just exaggeration purposes, make your stance super wide and then hold your hands out wide also, so you're taking up space, okay? And notice how that feels. Now, that's going to be weird if you talk like that, but I want you to exaggerate it just so you get that feeling, right? And then when you're back and giving a talk, maintain that notion of space. You are the 400-pound gorilla. You are taking up space. You're in front of the room. You are making other people feel stuff. You guys ever wonder why rock stars are so popular? It's because they're in front of the stage, in front of everybody, 10,000 people, and everybody's physiology is getting regulated by that one person. They sing, they make music, boom, it's going inside people's heads, they're moving in rhythm. So if you're able to do that for your audience, you automatically become the most dominant person in the room. All right, so how do we do this? We want to make sure you have the expansiveness, right? Taking up the space, and also the height. So one exercise that I ask my students to do before going in is a little swimmer stretch. So you go like this, and you go like that. Some of you are more flexible than others, and you hold that for at least 30 seconds. And you kind of wiggle and you make yourself as tall as possible. Stretch everything out. Pull it up, pull it up, pull it up, pull it up. Maybe you can look up to the sky. And then when you bring it down, that is the posture you want to have. Notice how your spinal cord is now totally stacked. Your head, you're probably like 5 inches taller than you were before. You were 6'5" before, now you're 6'10", and boom, you feel great. Once again, embodied cognition. I'm not here to say, okay, I want you to use this affirmation. Keep on saying, I'm going to be great on stage. No, 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 no. You're actually going to feel great. And from feeling great will emanate the fact that you are a great speaker. Does that make sense? All right, fantastic. So remember, embodied cognition, feel it. So Amy Cuddy, she's famous for her TED Talk about presence and power poses, and all that stuff totally works. So you can go like this and hold that for a while. This I like a lot. I call this the Bolt, Usain Bolt, right? I'm the king of the world. I just won. And the crazy thing is, blind people, even when blind people win something, they go like this. This is an innate victory posture. So you do that before you go on stage, and boom, you are right there. And one of the questions I get most asked by my students is, hey, I get really anxious when I go on stage. What should I do? And you just do these suite of activities right beforehand. The chance of you becoming anxious just goes way down because you've changed your whole physiology. Okay, so posture. We went over posture. Let's go over a couple more things you can do with visual strength. Okay, so I had you do that little scrunching down exercise to notice what it feels like. You actually feel small, right? All those, when you're in that position, you are vulnerable and therefore you're protecting yourself, right? So when you feel vulnerable, that's what you do. What else do we do when we feel vulnerable? We cover parts of our body. So a big no-no, no touching yourself in public. I'm sure your parents already told you that before, but this is a whole different kind, right? So no kind of touching yourself at all. Your whole body is off limits when you're talking, and that actually makes it easier for your hands to make excursions and make bigger gestures. The more gestures you're making, the more warmth people perceive and the more strength. So right now, actually, let's practice that. So I want you to make some big gestures and exaggerate them, go a little crazy with them. And you're practicing now because later on, I want this to be within your range, because a lot of people, they're going kind of like this small, but I want you to be able to go big because then it's in your repertoire. This is a good time to also remind you of the number 2 of the 3 big principles I want you to take home for sure. And that is to minimize distractions. So yes, we're talking about warmth, strength, presence, all these things are great. But really, overarching, what's most important is for your message to get through. And for your message to get through, what we want you to do is to minimize distractions. What are distractions? I mean, this is a distraction. It's like, why is this person rubbing the back of their neck while they're talking to me, or grabbing their ear, or picking their nose? I mean, it just doesn't make any sense. You could have the greatest message in the world, but if you have like some kind of picture of a shark eating a baby on your t-shirt, on your shirt, people are going to look at that. They're not going to look at you. So minimize distractions. And distractions are going to come up in other forms as well, which we'll go through. Okay. And one of the distractions that you want to be avoiding is touching, self-soothing gestures, any kind of protective gesture. Okay. Great. Any questions about visual strength or the three big principles, the three channels, anything I've talked about so far. So we've got the three qualities: strength, warmth, and presence. Three channels: visual, verbal, vocal. And the two of the three big principles were tell stories, always be telling stories, and minimize distractions. Any questions so far? John has a question. Yes, talk to me.
So many of the presentations that we do now are online. And
Yes.
we're often sitting. Is that a bad thing? Should we be set things up so that we're standing?
Fantastic question. How does it feel right now, John, when you're standing and talking to me as opposed to when you were sitting?
Well, because of the angle of my computer, it doesn't feel great. But if I had it at a different level, I mean, I think, people think on their feet. So I think it would probably be better to be standing, but that oftentimes doesn't work, particularly if you're at a desktop computer.
All right, so how about we do an informal poll? The people who I can see, we got John standing, we got a bunch of other people sitting. Which one of these people, which one looks more persuasive to you? Which one looks like, yeah, I want to fund this guy's company? I mean, it's not a trick question. By a wide margin, John, you look a hell of a lot better when you're standing than when you or anybody else is sitting. So when you're sitting, you are willingly restricting your range of motion. You're willingly making yourself small. And also, as you're standing with this slightly downward look at your camera, there's a little dominance play there as well. It's not huge, but it's definitely there. So this is the much more powerful stance. It allows you to move around, have bigger gestures, and it's also, it just feels much more natural to your audience. So I would encourage all of you who are doing this kind of thing online to set things up so you can stand. And yeah, if you can make it exactly eye to eye, that's cool. But this is also okay. As I said, that slight downward angle emphasizes the fact that you have strength in this situation. Great question, John. All right, any more questions? All right, let's keep.
Hi, Ali. Yes, I have a question. So what about clothing? Like, I always thought you're supposed to wear a power suit. Now I think everything's changed. First of all, do you think clothing makes an impact on power? And with all of these new norms, we're all kind of in our loungewear. How is it changing the need for clothing?
Absolutely, Kristen, fantastic question. I have a whole section on clothing in my online course. I was not going to be covering that today because I have so much more other stuff to say. But once again, the principle is minimize distraction. So if I were to go over here and go like this, like, where does his hand go? Is he scratching his butt? Okay, that's distracting, right? At the same time, if you're wearing like something with a huge amount of décolletage, or if a guy's wearing like a tank top or no shirt, that's distracting. So you want to minimize distraction, and you also want to maximize strength and warmth. So the more formal your presentation is, and the more formal your clothing is, the more strength you're conveying. But at the same time, you don't want to take it to the point that you hurt the warmth. If you're wearing a tux and your audience is wearing t-shirts, then there's a disconnect there. So you want to be, casual, formal, casual business, and that way nobody can object to it. And also red helps. So I almost always wear some shade of red, some bright shade. That makes you be seen more authoritatively for some reason. But yeah, I mean, what you're wearing right now, Kristen, is perfect, right? It's businessy, casual. It's comfortable for you. I do not recommend wearing the tiger onesie if you are giving a business presentation. All right, fantastic. So these are great questions. And as the questions come up, note them, and I'll be happy to address them. So let's get into vocal strength. What is vocal strength? What is that all about? So the quality of voice that people really like encountering is resonance, some form of richness and resonance. So if I talk like this and it all comes out of my nose and it kind of goes upward like that, suddenly I don't sound nearly as persuasive. Whereas if I drop deep down into my belly and use that full resonance chamber of my entire torso and abdomen, it sounds a hell of a lot better, doesn't it? Unless you want me to go back to this voice, I mean, I can always do that, and I'm already seeing you guys cringing, right? So the quality of your voice makes a big difference. So let's do a quick little exercise here to increase the resonant quality of your voice. And what you have to understand is that your body is an instrument. You are a musical instrument. So let's do this exercise very quickly. Take your finger and put it on your nose and say, this is what I sound like when I speak from my nose. All right, great. And turn your mics on so I can actually hear you, and it's also amusing to me. Great, fantastic. So put it on the corner of your lips and say, this is what I sound like when I speak from my mouth.
This is what
I sound like when I speak from my mouth.
Good, good. Put it on your throat and say, this is what I sound like when I speak from my throat.
This is what I sound like when I speak from my throat.
And put it on your chest. This is what I sound like when I speak from my chest.
This is
what I sound like when I speak from my chest.
Fantastic. Now put it on your belly and say, this is what I sound like when I speak from the deep rumble of my money-making belly.
This is what I sound like when I speak from the deep rumble of my money-making belly.
There you go. And do you notice the difference is in the resonant quality of your voice when you consciously speak from here, speak from here, speak from here, speak from here, speak from here? It makes all the difference in the world. And which one sounded better to you? Was it this? Was it this? Was it this? Or was it the deep rumble of your money-making belly? All right, so let's get into that money-making belly. This is what I want you to do. Let's see if I can get the angle right so you can see what the hell I'm actually doing here. So I want you to bend over like this, all the way if you can. So hang, 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 and let your belly totally hang, okay? Completely relaxed. You are not flexing your six-pack to show off to the world. You are just letting it totally pooch out. Then take your hand, put it on your belly that's pooched out, and go, press it in so it loosens up. Oh, you do that like 20 times? All right. All right, fantastic. And now stand up and allow that relaxation of the belly muscles to continue. This means that I do not look like totally ripped, high intensity interval training warrior. Boom, it's pooching out. And that is going to increase your resonance chamber size. So now from here, now put your hand there and we'll say the Pledge of Allegiance from your belly. Okay, I want you to actually feel your voice coming from all the way down there. It may feel a little bit affected because you haven't done it in a while, but just allow your voice to come from all the way down there. Loosen everything up and say, I pledge allegiance to the flag.
I pledge allegiance
of the United States of America.
Of the United States of America.
And to the republic for which it stands. One nation, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, good. So you get the idea, what it feels like to actually come from there. And it is that relaxed abdomen that allows you to do that. So if you scrunch it up, then you get this really tense voice coming out. Whereas if you let it pooch out and relax and open up that chamber, resonance chamber, you get a much more resonant tone of voice. And also encourage people to warm up their voice before they do anything. So before I came on, I did the cork trick. And what you want to do is you want to get a champagne cork, which is nice and wide. You put that in between your teeth, all right? And you do the Pledge of Allegiance for one time. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the flag for which it stands, one nation, and justice for all. Or just, I don't know, read the Gettysburg, just read just any random thing for about 2 minutes. And this opens up all of the vocal apparatus and makes you sound a hell of a lot better. So one of the big parts of my training is to just do all these things before you go on stage. You warm up the voice, you expand the resonance chamber, and you very mindfully come from here. You come from your belly, you speak from your belly, and there may even be some kind of energetic quality that people are perceiving at an unconscious level. When you have this really high, reedy voice, that means you're stressed out. There are computers that can analyze voice stress, and based on that, figure out if somebody's feeling dominant or submissive, in power or without power. So when you do this, you're conveying all that at a deep unconscious level that your audience will perceive, even though they may not know it consciously. All right. Are we good with vocal resonance? Do you get it? Yeah. Do you all have access to some corks? Go find a cork and use it to warm up. All right. Let's talk about another aspect of vocal strength, and you know, because sometimes it's really like important to just, you know, say things in a certain way that people perceive as really, really persuasive. So what am I doing here that's making me less persuasive and incredibly annoying? Anybody? Any thoughts? Turn your mics on. Tell me, what was I doing there that was really making it hard for you to find me persuasive? Going off pitch. Brilliant. Pretty obvious, isn't it?
Up talk.
Yeah. Up talk. That is the term. Great job, Tika. So, Tika or Tika?
Tika.
Tika. Thank you, Tika. Yeah. Up talk is the worst. So, just gauge the difference between one sentence from another. When I kind of talk like this and my voice goes up, hi, my name is Dr. Ali. I'm the president of Amalgamated Incorporated Worldwide. I am so incredibly cool and really powerful and rich. And you will not believe a word that I say because I am using up talk. Whereas if I just say, hi, welcome to the talk. Let's learn some really useful things today. Much more persuasive. So the antithesis of up talk is what my coach, my vocal coach, he calls it the standard American melody. By the way, his name is Bob Korff, C-O-R-F-F. He is awesome. He's based in Los Angeles, and he's the best in the biz. He's been teaching people in Hollywood how to use their voice for the past 30, 40 years. So he costs a lot of money, but he's worth every penny. Tell him I sent you. Korff, C-O-R-F-F. Yeah, he also has his course on Amazon, which you can get for a song, and like incredibly cheap, totally worth it. So what is the standard American melody? The standard American melody goes something like this. Up, down, down, further down. Example, show me the money. All right, all together now. Mic's on, let's practice this together. We're gonna do this 3 rounds of show me the money. Okay, you ready? Show me money.
The money.
Show me the money. Show me the money. Okay, good. Fantastic. Did I say, show me the money? Show me the money? No, I said, show me the money. That is the standard American melody, and it has a certain command tonality to it. And I want you to be using that all the time. Even when you're asking questions, I still want you to use the standard American melody command tonality. How's everybody doing? Are you enjoying yourself? So when you use that, you just sound a hell of a lot more authoritative, and especially in contradistinction to the up talk. Now, there is a gender difference here, and I've noticed this, and this has actually been studied and recorded. Women tend to use up talk a lot more than men, okay? Stop that, okay? I've seen super powerful lady CEOs that come and say, hi, my name is Jennifer. And I'm like, what? You don't know what your own name is? I'm the president of Amalgamated Incorporated. No, no, no. My name is Jennifer. I am the president of Amalgamated Incorporated. There is absolutely no doubt in these things, and I am here to rock your world. So what you want to do is you want to make sure you expunge these things, which in normal conversation are there for creating better connection. Men do it, women do it. This is what we do because you're with a peer. And you kind of use this little bit of an up talk to make people feel comfortable. And if you're in front of a bunch of people pitching, that's not the time. I want you to be as authoritative and powerful as possible. So no uptalk. And there's something else that I was kind of like doing in that last demonstration and stuff. So yeah, and if you keep on like doing that too, that'll totally make you sound like totally more persuasive and stuff. So yeah, like what am I doing now that's completely ruining whatever I'm saying?
Filler words.
Boom! Thank you so much. That's fantastic. Zach, you're the man. That is exactly the terminology we use. Fillers. So there have been, as a coach, of course, it's completely infuriating to me because I sit there and all I do is count people's fillers. And look, if you're using 2 fillers per minute while you're talking, that's 120 fillers per hour. That's a lot. So I've heard people do 300, 500 fillers per hour, and it drives your audience absolutely batty. And it adds absolutely nothing to your presentation, your credibility, anything. So the cure for a lot of these things is just to record yourself. Of course, the best cure is to train with me, and then I'll tell you what's going on. But barring that, you record yourself, you listen to yourself. It's a little cringy to watch ourselves or listen to ourselves, but it makes a huge difference because now you're actually seeing it. It's like, oh my God, I said like 55 times in 5 minutes. That's not good. What else could you be saying besides anything else? So what I want you to do, instead of using fillers, is a very simple trick. This trick will make you sound more authoritative, but actually on top of that, it will allow you to collect your thoughts and sound really deep and thoughtful. What am I doing now instead of fillers?
Slowing down.
Pausing. Yes, you are correct. Slow down and pause. So anytime you want to say you know, and thereby buy yourself time or whatever it is that people want to accomplish with their fillers, just stop. And it's interesting because when you stop and pause, it may feel awkward to you, but to your audience, it sounds great. It's like, wow, this guy really knows what he's talking about. And my natural pace of speech is something like this. Actually, it's a lot more faster than that. And when I'm talking to friends, it goes something like this and it gets a little bit garbled. I start to trip over my own words. And you don't want that to be your pace of speech when you're talking in front of a bunch of people who are trying to follow you and understand what the hell you're saying. And the beauty of pauses is that, especially for somebody like me who tends to talk fast, is it allows me to actually just make up the speech on the fly. You're giving yourself enough time to compose what you're going to say and make it sound coherent. And it sounds dominant on the other end. Why? Because powerful people are comfortable allowing others to wait for them. As opposed to, okay, you're really important. I know you don't have a lot of time, so I just want to get in this pitch about my company. My company's really great. Please fund us. That is not going to be nearly as effective. When you're on stage, you own the stage, you own the time, apportion it as you see fit. Okay, so we got resonance of your voice. We've got standard American melody as opposed to uptalk. Uptalk is the worst. And we got fillers, okay? Let's talk a little bit about warmth. We haven't talked about warmth much at all, and warmth is super important as well. So, all right, I want you to stand up. I want you to put your hands like this, okay? I want you to notice how warm you feel when you go like that, or how it feels when I go like that, okay? Just go like that, and then go like that. Maybe even go like that, right? And then after you did all that, now go like this and just hold your palms up. And notice how different that feels. And when I put my palms up here, there's some deep internal evolutionary mechanism saying, hey, look, this guy doesn't have an axe in his hand to bash my brains in with. I feel safe. This conveys safety, and defenselessness to your audience. So warmth, a big part of warmth is open-handed gestures, okay? And it's like you're holding a big old ball, right? And that way you kind of know where your hand can go. Your hand can go around this giant exercise ball, kind of like this. Okay, I disappeared. That's not good, but you get the idea. It's like you're holding the ball, but just open-handed gestures in general. So this is aggression. This is aggression. This is warmth. This is welcoming. So that's where you want to put your hands. And the other thing that actually helps a lot with warmth is smiling. Okay, so I am not a naturally smiley person, so I have to remind myself of this whole smiling thing. But notice what happens when I'm really stirred and going like this and chop, 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 chop like that, as opposed to, hello, welcome to my talk. Let us teach you something about warmth. Okay, so make yourself smile to your audience and also look them in the eye. So I am sort of kind of looking at you in the eye by looking directly into my camera, which is what you want to be doing when you're giving these presentations online. Do not look at the picture of the person on the screen, look at the camera. In person though, what you want to do is you want to hold the gaze for a count of 1, 1,000, 2, 1,000, and then move on to the next person. So 1 to 3 seconds, hold the gaze, make that person felt, make that person feel present in your world, and then move on. Eye contact, smiling, open hand gestures, those are some of the correlates of visual warmth. So how do you do a vocal warmth? So we already talked about the resonance aspect. So resonance gives you both warmth and strength, but there's also the warmth of prosody. So the classic, not very warm voice sounds something like this, and people say this is robotic, and the reason it is robotic is because it is monotone. It does not fluctuate up or down. Whereas if I add this quality called prosody, where I'm going up, but I'm coming down, and I sound like a Baptist preacher, preach, hallelujah, can I get a witness? They are not monotone. They are not robotic. They are going up, they're going down, they're exploring the entire space of vocal possibility. That's what I want you to be doing. I want you to be making this as much like a conversation as possible. And when you're talking to a friend, you are not talking like this, so don't talk like that. Talk to your audience as if you're having a conversation with them one-on-one. And one way to do that is to pick one person or two people in the audience and act as if you're addressing that person directly and you're just having a conversation. If you can get your public speaking to that point, which you're naturally doing all the time anyway, boom, you win. And I can't teach you anything anymore. That is the acme of being a great public speaker, to have that one-on-many conversation as if you're having that one-on-one conversation, okay? And warmth and verbal warmth. I want to get some of that across to you guys too before we run out of time, because that's very important. People put a lot of weight on the verbal content of what they're saying. And as you're giving your pitch in front of a panel of potential investors, what do you say? What kind of stories do you want to be telling? Well, first of all, thank you for remembering, you will be telling stories. There will be no data dumps. Everything wants to be a story, okay? So the story of your founding, the story of your product, the story of your marketing, make it a story, bring people in. People care about people. Stories are the evolution's way of encoding information in a way that is hard to forget, because stories are the structure of survival value information. Somebody tells a story of, oh, I went to those bushes over there and man, there was a saber-toothed cat and I ran away as quickly as I could. You don't want to go to those bushes. Brain's like, important story. Stories are a multi-billion yearly industry. It's called Hollywood. It's called novels, publishing, all this stuff. So tell the stories. What kind of stories? 3 kinds of stories. You want to write this down. First one, we already covered. Stories of vulnerability. I gave you a story of me being a kid in danger. Stories of vulnerability, bring people onto your side, boom, instant warmth, right? The stronger you are, the more power you have in the world, the more important it is for you to tell stories of vulnerability. Number 2, stories of communion, of people coming together and accomplishing something. That's the story of your team. That can be super powerful. Why is this important? Because we are social animals, and that's how we evolved to become the dominant species on the planet, by cooperating together. So when people hear stories of cooperation and communion, boom, their brains light up. And finally, stories of redemption. This is the Cinderella story, rags to riches. That is super powerful. There's a whole article by Kurt Vonnegut about how all stories are basically the same story. It's like rags to riches, or riches to rags to riches, or riches to rags to riches to rags to riches, which is actually the Cinderella story. Cinderella was rich, rags, and finally rich. Okay, so the more of those cycles you can put in, the more compelling your story is. But I just want you to learn how to walk before you run. Get those stories in there. Stories of vulnerability, stories of communion, stories of redemption. Something went terribly wrong, and boom, I came back. A lot of these stories that you hear, if you go to one of the best speeches I've ever heard is Oprah's 2019 or 2018 Golden Globe speech. It is phenomenal. And right there in the space of just a couple of minutes, she tells this amazing redemption story, and a bunch of other stories too. So study that. I actually have that in my online course, and we dissect it one by one, what she does there. Okay, good. So finally, I want to talk about presence. Presence is super important. And to me, you've got warmth, that's the x-axis. You got strength, that's the y-axis. And then presence is like the z-axis. Presence makes you 3D. I could be saying all this stuff, and I could be doing it really well, and I could use a really resonant voice. But if I'm kind of spaced out and looking elsewhere and not really here, and I'm reading stuff off some memorized list, you guys can't connect with me. This is all about connection. This is all about human to human connection, such that they feel you, and they are dealing with not just an idea, not just a startup, they're dealing with a person. And this person can make a difference in their lives and those of other people in the world. So what you want to do is you want to be present. Presence is about feeling yourself. It's about being here. And the best thing you can do to feel presence is to actually rehearse beforehand, because you naturally have presence if you're talking to a friend. You can't not be there unless you're noodling on your phone. But by the way, make sure these are as far away from you as possible. And anytime you're giving a talk or a speech, no distractions, remember that. And what you want to do to have presence is to rehearse things such that the content and the movement and the three channels that you're conveying through is second nature. You don't have to think about it. And then you can be in that moment. Presence is about being fully present in the moment, interacting with your audience, looking them in the eye, acknowledging them as human beings. So let's do a quick presence drill that will actually get you in the physiology of presence. Okay, stand up. Okay, take a deep breath and close your eyes. And I want you to imagine that your feet are rooted into the earth like a tree. And these roots are running down into the very core of the earth. Imagine it going through the crust, the mantle, boom, all the way down to the pulsating, magnetic, molten core of the earth. All that energy of heat, magnetism, everything is there, and all that is boom, now shooting up through your legs that have reached all the way down the core of the earth into your body, shooting up into your body, and boom, going out through your arms. Put your arms up in the air, and imagine your arms are now connecting to the outer cosmos. Boom, the entire universe, all the stars, the energy of that is coming through your hands, boom, going down to your body. Feel that expansiveness of your body as you hold your hands up in the air. Stretch, stretch, stretch. Feel the roots. Feel the energy coming through your hands and arms. And wiggle your toes and feel that. Contract your leg muscles, contract your arm muscles. And then when you feel your body completely and feel yourself magnetized and lit up, bring your arms down and open your eyes again. And notice how that feels. Notice how different the quality of your presence is once you do that. It's like, boom, I am rooted, I am here, I am immovable is it even possible to have anxiety and jitters after you do this? It's a lot harder to do. So that's a great exercise. You should incorporate that also in your pre-talk warm-up routine, okay? And what I call presence is grounded enthusiasm. So you're coming in, you have the energy, boom, energy from the sky, boom, energy from the ground. But at the same time, you're grounded, right? You're rooted. So people can feel your power. People can feel your energy, but you're not like blah, all over the place, okay? That's distracting and not so credible. So grounded enthusiasm. And what else? And I want to give you one more trick. This is a pretty important one because once again, the biggest concern that people bring to me in my coaching practice is, I feel anxious. I get stage jitters. Totally reasonable. There are stories about John Barrymore, the great early 20th century actor. I think he was related grandfather to Drew Barrymore. And this dude, apparently, to the end of his days, every time he went on stage, right before going on stage, he vomited. You know what? That is totally optional. You do not have to do that. That is not necessary. So a very simple thing that you can do to change this whole equation of anxiety around speaking and being in front of a bunch of people is to recognize this. You're in service to your audience. That's what you're doing, okay? If you're thinking, do I look good? Does my butt look good in these pants? You're already toast. It's over. You're worried about what they're thinking of you. No. You are there to serve them. You are there to teach them something. They are there to enrich their lives in the time they have with you. And by the way, the time they have with you is an irreplaceable commodity. It's the one thing that they'll never get back. So in those 30, 60, 90 minutes you have with them, make sure you are enriching their lives. Make sure you are in service to them. Because once you go into that in-service mode of thinking, you can't focus on you anymore. You can't focus outwardly and inwardly at the same time. So external focus. And that's my third top level tip for today. Be of service. Be of service to your audience. Because once you're in that mode of thinking, oh yeah, these people really need this. What I'm teaching them is really important. This startup is going to change their lives for the better. They would really love to have this investment because it will be in their portfolio and they will benefit, okay? You're doing them a huge favor. Act like you are. And that way, the whole anxiety thing boom, goes out the window. It's just a completely different mental orientation. And if you also do the other exercises, the power poses, the stretches, the breathing, and the grounded enthusiasm exercise, you're pretty much going to be bulletproof after that. Okay, so let me do a quick recap of some of the stuff that we talked about here. So first of all, 3 channels, 3 qualities. Let's see if you guys can remember some of this stuff. So strength, warmth, presence, those are the 3 qualities. 3 channels, visual, vocal, verbal, okay? And then the 3 top level tips: tell stories, minimize distractions, and be of service. And this, ladies and gentlemen, is where we get back to that list of random stuff that I told you about 40 minutes ago. So how many of you can remember at least 3 of those items? 3 of those items that I randomly mentioned. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, all 10 in order from beginning to end. Okay, that's going to be hard to do. Most people can't do that. So in the next 30 seconds, I'm going to teach you how to remember all 10 of those items, not just today, not just tomorrow, but forever. Possible? Let's get some skepticism. That's crazy talk. How can you possibly do that? That's nuts. Well, let's find out. Okay, so here we go. 30 seconds. You ready? 1, gun. 2, shoe. 3, tree. 4, door. 5, hive. 6, sticks. 7, heaven. 8, crate. 9, wine. 10, hen. And that was actually 25 seconds. I donate the remaining 5 seconds to charity. So I only went through that once, but guess what? It's already stuck in your head. So What was number 5? It was, let's turn your mics on again.
Hi.
There you go. And all you people who are not on camera, feel free to open your mics. If you have a bad hair day, I get it, but you're also having a bad voice day. What is going on here? Is this like the worst day ever? Come on, people, let's participate. So, okay, 5 was hive. Okay, what's 7?
Heaven.
Heaven. Okay, 8.
Crate.
Great. Fantastic. 10 was?
Hen.
All right, now you understand why it all seemed kind of random. It's like, why is he talking about a hen all of a sudden? 3 is?
Tree.
All right, 2 was?
Shoe.
Okay, fantastic. So good job, guys. So once again, 1 gun, 2 shoe, 3 tree, 4 door, 5 hive, 6 sticks, 7 heaven, 8 crate, 9 wine, 10 hen. Now, why is this relevant? Well, I just taught you the number rhyme system for remembering stuff. So I also teach people about mnemonic devices and memory, but this is a tool for remembering your entire speech. In fact, I give this speech without notes, variations of it all without notes. I give 25 different speeches without notes because I have this system. It looks like cheating, and it kind of is, but really it's about your brain having an infinite capacity for retaining things if you know how to shelve things right. If you can put things in the right places and file them well, then you can retrieve them well afterwards. So let's use this number rhyme system to remember the entire presentation I gave you today. How do we do this? All right, let's go. 1 gun. I want you to imagine there's a big old gun. It's huge. It's on the ground. It's heavy. It weighs a ton. And you're going to lean over and use all your strength and lift it up. And as you do that, guess what? You're standing tall. You're doing a little starfish thing. You're big, big posture. Okay, so 1 gun, that is your strength, the first of the 3 qualities. Okay, good. 2 shoe. I want you to imagine you have a pair of incredibly fuzzy slippers and you put your feet in them and it feels so warm. And maybe you go like this as you say, oh, it feels so warm. And you combine the gesture, that way it makes it more memorable. Okay, so 2 is warmth. 3, tree. I want you to imagine you are lying down under a tree and you're taking a nap and you look up and instead of fruit, there's a bunch of presents there and they're all wrapped really nice in boxes. And the boxes start falling and they have sharp corners and boom, they bop you and then you're like, ow, and you're buried in presents. 3 is presents, 3 tree. 4, door. Okay, this one's a little tricky. So you come to the door and you grab it, you grab the handle and it's like, it's all slimy and wet. It's like a fish. It's fishy. It's visual. Work with me here. The stranger it is, the more tactile it is, the more senses you bring in, the easier it is for you to remember. So you grab it and boom, it's visual. So you want to have the sound connected to a picture. That's how your brain remembers things. Okay, 4 is visual. Okay, 5. 5, hive. There's a hive of bees and they're all buzzing around and they all start singing in unison. La donna mobile, qual fiume al vento, something like that. But the point is they're being vocal. They're singing. 5, hive, vocal. Okay. 6, sticks. There are sticks on the ground and oh my God, they're spelling something. It's like words. The sticks are rearranging themselves. They're like running into a whole bunch of passages. It's amazing. It's really verbal. Bunch of words, verbal, sticks. If you want to refine that, by the way, these are not set in stone. You can make your own visuals that work with the number rhyme system. This is just what I'm giving you today. Okay. 7, heaven. You look up and in the heavens, there's a bunch of tents. And these tents, they all fall down on you and suddenly you are intention. Intention is service. You are in service to your audience, okay? So let's use, actually let's do one more too. 8, crate. There's a crate and there's a whole bunch of balls in the crate and you just jump in there and you're bouncing around because you hold one of them because you're holding the ball. That was about how you want to hold your hands. Okay, now this is the important part for you so you can remember everything. This is the recall phase. So recall, let's do the recall now. 1, gun. What's a gun? Turn your mics on so you can talk to me. One gun was?
Frank.
Strength. Okay, good. 2, shoe. What's in the shoe?
Warm.
Warmth. There you go. 3, tree. What's on the tree? Falls down your head?
Presents.
Presents.
Presents. 4, door. What's wrong with the doorknob? There
Visualize.
you go. 5, hive. What are the bees doing?
Vocal.
Okay, good. 6, sticks. What are the sticks on the ground doing?
Verbal words.
Words. Perfect. 7, heaven. What's in heaven? It's a big ol'
Tense.
Tense.
tension. All right, good. And 8, crate. What's in the crate?
Oh.
Balls.
Balls. All right, balls, big balls. Hold the ball. Hand gestures. Okay, fantastic. So you're now going to remember these 8 things, if not forever, for a really, really long time, because it's been etched into your brain. You got sound, you've got vocals, you've got visuals, you got tactile, and it's in sequence. And you've got the number rhyme system, which you will remember forever, which you're also welcome to use to remember grocery lists or anything else that you want. So in the end, what I want you to remember from all of this is that, look, there is no bad time for you to be more charismatic. If you have an important message, if you have an important product, you want to be able to convey it as well as possible to the world. Your job is not just done with being a great inventor, being a great entrepreneur, doing great marketing. You also have a moral obligation to bring this to the world and to convey it in a way that people get it, right? If Sergey Brin and Larry Page were not able to convey that we are going to organize the information of the world and make it available for free, that would be lost on the world, right? They conveyed that in a way that whoever was on the other end decided, yes, here's your check, you can go and build this now. So I want you to bring that same level of conviction to whatever you're doing and recognize that this stuff is not optional. You don't get to be the person behind the scenes. You don't get to just do this one part. You are the one who's conveying this information to the world. And if you don't think the world needs it, that's fine. But if you do, then get out there, get the word out, and be the best possible exponent and advocate for what it is that you are presenting to the planet that's new, exciting, and useful. So that's the presentation for today. And if you feel moved to pursue this further, I have a couple of options for you. So first of all, you can book me directly. So I'm ali@post.harvard.edu, very hard to forget, or ali.binzair@gmail.com, and just contact me directly and we can do one-on-one work. So 1 session can make a big difference. 3 can be transformative. You can also do it for your whole team if you wish. And the other option is you can go to draliteachable.com. So here, I'll put that in the chat here. All right. What's going on here? Say chat to, how do you do it to everybody? Everyone in meeting. There you go. Okay, good. So draliteachable.com. So that is the home to my course, which is called Super Charisma, how to be a transformative speaker, because that's what I want you to be doing. I want you to be transforming your audiences. Whatever it is that you're doing, they will be changed when they listen to you. So that link gives you a 80% discount on the course. And the discount code for Harvard Alumni Entrepreneurs is HAE, all capital letters, HAE. Okay, perfect. And that way you can get that. So if you guys want to keep on hanging out, I'm totally cool with that. And we can do a couple of live coaches. So who is up to be live coach? So this would involve you doing about a 1-minute presentation, and then we give you feedback. It will be a moment of vulnerability because the feedback will be partially positive. Wow, you're doing that well. But also we want to make you better at whatever you're doing. So do we have time for a couple of these? Felix, Zach, yes, can we do that?
Yeah, plenty of time. All good.
Right, fantastic. Okay, good. So we'll go till about another 15 more minutes if people want to hang out. But I saw a hand raised. Who was that? Luke in the house. All right, fantastic. So Luke, do you have something that you can talk about for about a minute? And it can be spontaneous, it can be part of your pitch, whatever it is.
Sure, I could probably think of something.
Yeah. Okay, good. And look, it's just a representative sample. It's not exactly what you'll be doing, but it'll give us something to work with such that we can observe the stuff that you're doing and give you feedback. So is that cool?
Sure. So talk about anything or talk about?
I mean, preferably it's something that you would talk about in an entrepreneurial context, a presentation you're likely to give. So if you can pick that, that'd be great.
Okay.
Yeah, take a second to think about what it is and get the camera trained on you. I think we can see you reasonably well. If you can actually see your hands, that would be good too. If you can bring it down maybe a little bit so your hands are visible. Oh, perfect. Boom. There you go. Yeah, step back. That's great.
There you go.
Perfect. Step back a little bit. Okay. Okay, so whenever you're ready, you roll and I'll tell you when time is up.
All right. My name is Luke Hegeman, and my background's in landscape architecture. I went to the GSD, and what I'm working on now is creating a software solution that allows everybody to organize their projects together. I also realize I'm not telling a story at the moment, and I'm fact dumping. Sorry, kind of lost it there.
No worries.
Yeah, sorry, I'm just trying to think of a story now that I've realized that I've gone away from your.
No, it's fine. Don't worry about it. Just keep rolling.
Right. Today I'd like to talk to you about my story and how I got here. Myself as a person, I find myself very disorganized because I grew up with ADHD. And as I've grown and developed in the professional world, what I found is it's very important to find organizational strategies for myself. As a landscape architect, I see that my profession very much lacks these ways of organizing our data and our information and the way that we talk with each other, therefore.
All right, time.
All right.
Great, perfect. Okay. All right, so people are watching, so now you are the coaches. What do you see? So what's the first thing that you see that Luke do? And good job, everybody, by the way. Thank you for being the first. Lots of courage there. Fantastic. So this is kind of like touching yourself, but this is one of the few allowed poses that this is one of the few poses that are allowed. So this is called steepling, and it's okay, but not as like the base. You can't do this all the time. If it happens every once in a while, that's fine. So ideally, I would like your hands to be free to gesture because this is restricting you. This is making you, basically you can only get so big if you do this, but once you let it go, then you can make excursions. So let's make sure we get rid of that and use the hands more instead. Okay, anything else that people notice? You got strength, you got warmth, you got presence, and also notice that, you know, these are combat conditions. Luke just kind of jumped in there and did it. So, but at the same time, he's doing certain things that will be representative of his presentations in the future when he is prepared. So Luke, you were starting to get rolling by the end. You had the story you wanted to tell, and that was starting to sound really great. So let's go to that part. And what I want you to do is every 2 or 3 words that you say, I want you to pause and then keep going. And it's going to sound completely unnatural to you at first, but do it anyway. So you willing to play along?
Yeah.
All right, let's do that. So let's start that latter part where you were starting to roll about your landscaping and ADHD, and just pause every 3 or 4 words and roll whenever you're ready.
Okay. So at the GSD, I learned that I needed different strategies for organization and development between my peers professionally. And what I'm trying to do today is present to you, my audience, to gain funding for my software.
Woohoo! Did you guys notice how big a difference that made? Huge, right? So in 30 seconds, like just like that. Pauses are your secret weapon. You use pauses, you just sound golden. It's amazing. So, and do it even more. So record yourself, notice how that works. And I also noticed a little bit of uptalk in there. So you said, my name is Luke Hageman. And guys, notice everybody does this. These are completely unconscious behaviors. So I'm here to make those unconscious behaviors conscious. So you realize, oh crap, I'm doing this. Maybe I shouldn't. Because if you were conscious of it, you wouldn't be doing it, but it's just automatic. And I'm sure I'm doing some weird unconscious things. I've been working on my stuff for a lot longer than you have. I've been watching myself painfully make those mistakes. So I've gotten rid of most of them. And now I pause a lot and I don't use fillers. So it's going to take a minute for you to do that too. In the meantime, pauses are your friend. Luke, thank you so much. Fantastic job.
Thank you.
Was there somebody else who wanted to go? Let's take at least one more person. Yes, yes.
I'll go.
All right. Gina in the house. All right, Gina, can you
Hey,
raise your
Alan.
camera so that you are standing?
Oh, should I stand? I can stand.
Yeah. Let's do that.
There's less light where I'm standing here now.
That's fine. You got plenty of light yourself. It's all good. All right. So
Okay.
let's make sure we can see your hands. So you stand back from the camera so we can see your hands. Bring it down. Okay, good.
Okay.
Put your hands where I can see them. All right, good.
Okay.
All right, good. So, and do you have something that you want to talk about? Some ready stories?
Yeah.
Some stories ready
Yeah.
to roll?
I have to. I
Right.
I can
When
talk
you're
about my
ready,
company.
do it.
Okay.
Yes, absolutely.
My name is Gina Levy. I'm raising money for my company, Kindred Connect. I was inspired to create Kindred Connect from my experiences at Burning Man, a big cultural festival in the desert. At that place, people connect with a lot of warmth and kindness, meeting strangers with a lot of warmth and kindness. I was interested to create a digital space where people can meet with a lot of warmth and kindness, and where we can strengthen communities and relationships.
Fantastic. All right, everybody give a big hand. Woohoo! Great job. Okay, so Gina's already doing a whole bunch of things well. So she knows the story, she tells the story. At the same time, ain't nobody in this world who could not be better at this. Maybe Barack Obama. I can't teach Barack anything, but the rest of us, mere mortals, there's room for improvement. So if you guys were to give one suggestion, visual, vocal, verbal, what would it be for Gina? Think about it. I have my own idea. I think one thing that would make a big difference is to do a little practice of the standard American melody. So let's do that together again. And it goes something like this. Turn on your mics, please. Show me the money.
Show me the money.
Show me the money.
Show me the money.
My name is Gina Levy.
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 My company is Kindred Connect.
My company is Kindred Connect.
And it totally kicks ass.
And it totally kicks ass.
Okay, good. You guys get the idea. So I want you to make this standard American melody the soundtrack of your life. So Gina has a great company. She's super smart. She knows what she's talking about. But when she says, my name is Gina Levy, and I am the president, CEO, and founder of Kindred Connect, that does not enhance her credibility, right? It diminishes it. So for a lot of us, it comes almost unnatural to use the standard American melody, which is why I want you to practice it. Just start speaking in the standard American melody, a little bit of a command tonality, and that way the world will fling its doors open to you and give you what you want a lot more than before. So the rest of it was great. You got the storytelling thing already in there, and guys, do not underestimate the power of storytelling. It totally works. And it sneaks in. The data dump is always there. It's like, oh yeah, I really want to give them all these numbers and data points. They'll really love this. Great, turn that into a story, right? It's just much more palatable, much more memorable. Anything else for Gina? Did you guys notice? Okay, cool. So that's our time today. If you have any further questions, I'm here for another 4 minutes. And if you have other questions that come to mind later on, zap me, ali.binazir@gmail.com or ali@coast.harvard.edu. Feel free to connect to me on LinkedIn. Please let me know how you met me. If I cannot see your face and you come on LinkedIn saying, hi, I saw you on there. Well, I didn't see you, so who are you? Let me know who you are. And that way we can keep the party going.
Thank you, Ollie.
Great. Thanks, everybody. I hope you
you,
get a lot
Ollie.
out of it. Go forth and conquer.
I have a question.
Yes, Brenda.
Yes, I noticed that this wonderful 1.5 hours experience with you is being recorded. I'd like to review it, revisit it, and practice again and again. How can I get access to the recording?
That is on HAE. They have the recording. So
Yeah, it says it right up here at 10:18. I'll repaste what Zach wrote.
Yeah,
Zach wrote
we're gonna post the recording. It's gonna go into post-production, and then after post-production, which is just editing, it's gonna go on to HAE Connect, which is our members only, paid members only platform. If you're not a paid member, that's okay. You can still have access to the recording because you did attend the session. So just reach out to us at info@harvardae.org, and I'll put that in the chat as well. So if you're a paid member, great, it'll be on Connect, and if not, it'll be available to you through email. So either of those two options. It does take about 10 days for post-production.
Yeah, and Brenda, if you go to drali.teachable.com, the first 10 lectures of my course is open to the public, available, and it covers a lot of the stuff that we covered today. So these are short lectures, like 90 seconds, 2 minutes. It's not like hour-long lectures. So first 10 lectures, you can go through them very quickly, but it's there for your reference. You can check it out, and that way you can review the material. All right. Great job, guys.
Great.
Thank you so much for your time, for your presence, for your warmth and your strength. Go and practice all those things and let me know how it goes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And thanks to Felix and Zach for making this happen. Bye, guys.
Thanks, Ali.